We're going to compete in the last monthly final of the year, and as it stands, we're currently in 3rd place. And in order to make the $1 million World Finals, we need to basically win this entire monthly final. And if we don't, this would be the first time in 4 years that we don't make Worlds directly. And let me tell you, it's not like we have an easy road up ahead. Our first opponent is going to be none other than STMN, the runner-up at World Finals last year. Now, us and STMN have had a rivalry for years now, always battling it out top seed and NA, but this year it's different. We're both fighting for our lives. STMN needs to win this game to continue their Brawl Stars season, and well, we need to win this game to have a chance to make World Finals. So everything is on the line here. And so as the first draft played out on Dueling Beetles, I believe it was in our favor. We decided to go Lou as our last pick to complete our spawn trap comp. However, we definitely could have went Byron for a safer option, which might have been easier to play. However, we still have a good comp. And while right off in the first game, you could tell that both teams were a little bit nervous. Scrappy plays by both of us fighting for position. And while with our comp, all we needed to do was get set up one time and we would probably be able to hold out for the rest of the game. And while their comp is obviously control, they want to make sure that we don't get spawn trapped, and they'll probably win the game because they have more range. And while although we fought pretty hard the first game, STMN just looked a little bit better. We weren't really able to get set up, so STMN took game 1, but we knew game 2 was 100% winnable. But first, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Warcraft Rumble. Now, if you haven't seen Warcraft Rumble on this channel before, Warcraft Rumble is a strategy action-packed game where you build your army and use your minis to destroy your enemy. Not only that, Warcraft Rumble just launched a huge new update. They introduced a brand new family to the game called the Cenarian family. The new Cenarian family introduces a bunch of new playstyles and strategies based around flexibility, defense, and healing. There's new leaders and new minis in the game, so it's really a good time to start collecting. And while they make collecting not too hard because there's brand new missions, new events, and dungeons. They first released a new zone called the Moonglade that introduces 5 new campaign missions. Now, this is for more veteran players because you need 74 sigils to play them. However, the new Cenarian festival that's going on is for all of you guys. This festival is a 3-week event that gives players a way to unlock 5 of the new Cenarian units. All you have to do is complete challenges in game, and each week, to make it more interesting, it'll have a new Cenarian theme, and they will also introduce Cenarian modifiers. And like I said, Cenarian week will be active in dungeons as well, so there is literally no better time to upgrade and collect the new Cenarian family. So make sure to download Warcraft Rumble using the link in the description down below. Huge thanks to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring this video. In game 2 though, we actually had a worse start than game 1. We were down 0 to 40% right off. And while with our comp, it's normal to lose at the start, but it's not normal to lose by that much. But either way, as long as we can come back one time and get spawn trap, we're able to win this game. So it's not over just yet. And slowly and surely, we fought our way back into the game, evening out the score, but this is where we started to make mistakes. Now, obviously, I'm not blaming any of my teammates because I make plenty of mistakes later on in the video, but I just want to show you guys this for educational purposes. The first mistake we made was we broke their wall with Frank. Now, this is a problem for 2 reasons. We open up the map for their comp, which has more range, and we also make it a little bit harder for us to even spawn trap them. So this definitely hurts us in the long run. The second mistake we made is we missed our Lou hypercharge. Now, this is really important not to miss, but we did have the perfect idea to kill Colette, because Colette is the biggest threat on their team. But unfortunately, we missed. And lastly, we made a mistake with our Jessie hypercharged turret. Towards the end of the game, it started getting really close, and with only 30 seconds left-ish on the clock, we decided to place the turret in the middle of the map. However, we definitely should have been placing that behind the wall, and we probably would have walked away with game. But I understand pressure is high and time is running out. But as Colette supered the turret, it now became a range battle for the last 20 seconds.
STMN have got themselves into a slim lead and Bobby needs to avoid those shots coming in from the Jessie. Favor to super, would love to let it go, but Zara's respecting it, spacing out from the Frank and brings him down. Now STMN throw themselves on the point and they realize they might just have gone and done it. Unbelievable STMN!
And so with that, STMN took set number 1. We're still feeling pretty good because we know we can play better in set number 2. Set number 2, the draft played out and our comp was basically just to counter the Frank. And well, they last picked Dynamite, which honestly might seem like a troll pick to some of you guys, but this is probably the scariest brawler in the draft. If Dynamite gets control, it's going to be really hard to push Dynamite out with our brawlers. And well, the first game started out perfectly for us. We pushed them back in their spawn, getting control of all the gems. As long as we can keep Dyna back, we should be able to win the game. But STMN knew this, and well, they kind of just sent it. They knew they had probably one last ditch effort to try to win the game, and they went for it.
There as the Gale Force came in, but he's able to dodge away with the time to collect Zar. Hanging on here, has a super available, but can he even get close enough to use it? You better believe he's going to try.
And Zard now flanking, fires the super, no connection.
Oh my god!
Sweep him away. Globbering his way down the other end. Now a rush to the other side. Shot clock available, and now they're gonna have to make a turnaround. Zard has the hypercharge ready though. Big boom goes the dynamite. There goes Surge as well. STMN have stolen every one of the gyms right from Tribe Spawn.
And just like that, STMN stole game 1. Game number 2, however, started basically identical to game number 1. We got the countdown, but this time around we were able to hold the Dynamite and Frank back, winning game number 2. Game number 3, however, started to get chaotic again. Dynamite got in our base this time around, and well, we just weren't on the same page here. We either had to switch lanes to get Nita off of Dynamite, or we had to pinch Dynamite, or we had to ignore Dynamite completely and play from the right side. However, we didn't really do any of those. And while we were kind of like scrambling, they just grabbed all the gems in the middle and walked away. So at this point, it's not looking good for us at all. We're down 0-2 in sets, but we did know both of those were super winnable. We just have to sharpen up, and we can definitely come back inside this series. So now going into the next draft, it is do or die, and yet another wild draft played out. We picked Nita on Kaboom Canyon into their kit pick. Now Nita is really good into kit in my opinion, so that's kind of why we did it, but just keep in mind what I just said later on in the video. And well, chaos breaks loose inside the first game, and that's mostly because of Kid Invis. They managed to get themselves a decent 30% lead at the start of the game. But the thing with our comp is we only need one push to basically win. SCMN never let up, and they look like they might close out game 1.
Here, that's the power of Kid, folks. Gonna be a flying hook and dive forward now with the tail spin. Azar is pressured down by Tyrant. He's now gonna look to work on the safe of STMN, but Tribes is down to 11% and counting. Barely standing, have a massive lead.
This is a difficult one, to say the least. Fade now, moving down the left-handed.
Hang on.
Firing from the middle of the map. Tyrant working. Fade stunned. Bobby, 100 HP survives, but Tyrant's flanking. 5%.
One more.
Firing from downtown. Connects it. Tribe's done it. A game win there. Unbelievable.
Game 2, though, however, we actually had a great start. If we can avoid losing the early game, we have such a good chance at winning. And well, as the game progressed, we even took a lead of our own. And so we kept the pressure up, always looking to base race them if we got the chance. So they were always on the defensive foot. And all we needed to do for the last couple seconds was defend one last big push from STMN.
For Kid, it's so hard to safely walk up and damage this turret. Tyrant bullies Sands as he gets kicked out of the mech, and it's only great shooting from Zard that stops the Carl before he reaches the turret. But we're running out of time, Kenny. There's 10 seconds left.
This is a tough one. STMN really need to fire down to the safe, but there's a huge gap between them and the other end. Zar gonna throw down some bullets. Sands letting it rain now. 1 second to go. Can't quite get there though. Tribe Gaming.
And with that, we fight back and take our first set of the match. We just need to win 2 more to come back inside this game. And so the next set is on Bell's Rock, and we picked a late game comp where as long as we can survive, we're probably going to win the game once the smoke comes in. We honestly just have way too much HP for them to deal with Piper and Gray and Larry. And well, to showcase the strength of our comp even more, look at this 2v3 with Meg and Buster.
Cut off on the right hand in, but Zard teleports in. He sees the matchup. That's what they're looking for. They want a Gray versus Sprout 1v1, and with all the teammates distracted, there's nothing they can do. Tyrant with the bounce back though.
And so yeah, in my eyes, this is actually a really hard draft for STMN to win. They have to get a kill early on, or else they're probably just not going to be able to win late game. However, they did fight back really hard in the second game around, and they were forced Fade in a 1v2 scenario. And with Fade's huge clutch, we were able to win set number 2, forcing us to a do or die set number 5.
Leader will get the job done as Tyrant getting pressured down. Laurie gets the job done. Bobby now needs to group up with Sands to make this work. Fade down to 4k, but the gas comes in, and with 274 health, Fade stays alive.
Now set number 5 is played out on center stage, and let me tell you, this was a chaotic set. You could tell that the nerves were high for both teams because, again, it's do or die. And while in the first game, it was a stalemate for the first half of the game. There was a couple goal attempts by both teams, but no one was really able to take advantage and score a goal.
Influence, I think, for this El Primo pick is also opening the map, because then they can dodge squeak shots easier. He's diving in, but Zulon survives. They've got this ball on their side. A super shot available for Zulon. Throws it down, connects with Bobby. He's gonna slow it down just a bit. Sands can't survive. 3 members for Tribe all around this ball. Zard tries to throw it away. Bobby dives in, throws him over his shoulders. Can't rush to the ball in time. It's a wide open net. Fade with super available.
Now at this point, it is match point. We just need to win the next game, and we will move on to the semifinals. Well, at the start of the game, we were able to make some nice plays with some nice teamwork, and we scored a early goal. At this point, we just need to hold out and not let them score a goal, and we will move on to the semifinals. But this is where panic starts to set in, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, STMN went for it.
Primo here, Tyrant sitting on the other side of it, cackling evilly. Tar's able to at least get the ball. Bobby can't walk it in though. Fade too tanky. He gets it. The equalizer is there, and STMN are one apiece, staying alive in Brawl Ball.
Once these walls come down, Amber and Rico got a little bit of a matchup favor. Fade looking for a super here. He finds it. He's moving Amber into this corner. Bobby can't punch his way in there. A super pass.
He's done it!
With the back off, and they buried their rivals. Tribe Gaming continue forward. STMN are going home.
And with that, we take the win 3-2 over STMN. And well, that means STMN is out of the postseason. Now, although we're rivals with STMN, and despite what a lot of you might think, we didn't want to knock STMN out of the competition. We've always made it to Worlds with STMN, and we always usually root for each other to do well and represent North America well at Worlds. And honestly, STMN is a fantastic team, and they definitely deserve a spot. I don't think anybody can argue that. But unfortunately, that's just part of competition sometimes, and we had to focus on our own goals. Now, also, really quickly, I wanted to mention that we heard afterwards that they had some lag issues, but there's nothing we could do, and we had to focus on our next semifinal match. We now have to face another beast of an opponent, Luminosity Gaming. Luminosity is another world finalist team from North America last year. This is definitely going to be a tough match. And while going into the first set on Double Swoosh, the draft was definitely not in our favor. I was worried about a Lily last pick, so I wanted to pick something safe like Tara or Chester, but it wasn't something we'd really done before. And so we kind of leaned away from it, and we went a normal Amber pick, and then they've picked Lily, of course, last pick. Now, I really wish this is where I took control of the draft. Sometimes as a coach, this is probably my biggest flaw. Sometimes I back down too easily, or I'm just not confident enough in picks. Now, don't get me wrong, we always draft as a team, so I know my team doesn't blame me. However, I do have some regrets here, and I do blame myself a little. And well, I'm sure you can tell by the way I'm talking that we did not win. Lily caused so much chaos for our comp that they were able to take this set pretty comfortably. However, we usually struggle in the first set, so we weren't too bothered. We just have to smarten up the next set around. And well, this map is all about control. If you're able to control the middle, you'll probably win the game. So in the first game, we got what we wanted, but as the game got closer to the end, they eventually broke Spawn Trap, pushing us all the way back into Spawn. Now, we knew we had to make a play once we were in Spawn, because if we just sit back, we're all probably gonna die. They have too much range for us to just kind of sit back anymore. So Fade popped Hypercharge, trying to go for a kill on the Surge. And well, if we trade this kill, we'd probably come out with the game. But he was just unable to get his second shot off, and so they took the lead and walked away with 1. Game 2, similar story, except we held mid a little bit longer. So we were able to survive in our base in the last couple seconds of the game, but this definitely was still really close. So it comes down to game number 3. And well, same thing happened, so we're gonna skip to the last 20 game.
Fade repositioned himself to the right side. Meanwhile, on the left, as Livy, Tyrant staying alive with the use of the gadgets. Tyrant still has one left. Hypercharge takes super in. This entire right choke has been locked in. Fade still staying alive. No kills on a...
With that, we even out the score 1-1, and we hop now on set number 3, probably one of our best maps, as long as we get a decent draft.
All those projectiles against him. So as Livy is sort of stopped from using the super until Patchy goes for it, he's getting thrown around the right side. Totally unexpected there. Survived even if Charles had not thrown down that gadget, but still, it's always useful to have some healing on your side. Early takedown, Apache Chino falls as well.
He's gonna be everything, and currently it's Tribe's favor.
As Livy's taken out his protractor, he's hitting all these angles with the burn from Tyrant. Patchy finally taken down, but it's a 2v2 now. Chino gets some value, and just Charles. It's another thing to note as well. So Luminosity are taking a different approach. They're not wasting their efforts up here at mid. They've fallen back to recover. Iron is still alive. Patchy now occupies the mid. And we see the poison now starting to close things in. Takedown, but it's just a trade. Fade and Tyrant still alive here. Takedown to Chino's base, maybe. Takedown onto Tyrant. Charles remains alive. Fade needs a...
At this point, we were feeling great. We just need one more set to win and move on to the finals. The next map is Penalty Kick. A decent map for us as long as we get a good draft. But we definitely made a couple mistakes here. We first picked Frank, which is a solid first pick, and then they went Dinah and Nita. Now, this was a really smart 2-3 from them and really put us in an uncomfortable situation. We were all contemplating some brawler picks like Cord, Willow, but again, we were pretty unsure of what the actual best pick was. And well, as the clock was ticking down, we finally decided that we were gonna go Willow. With only a couple seconds left on the clock, we were just unable to get there in time. And so we kind of panic locked in Kit. Like I said before, Kit is not great into Nita. However, Kit is still a really good brawler and we can probably make this work. However, at this point, we were all frazzled inside the draft and for some reason we decided to pick Brawl. This was a huge mistake knowing that they probably wanted to go Colette last pick into our Frank anyway. So not really sure what we were thinking here, but this was a really tough draft to win at this. We could have went Cord or even Willow and we probably would have had a pretty solid fighting chance. Either way, enough rambling on about the draft. They picked Colette, and at this point, we have a hard draft to win. So in the first game, we made some nice plays early on. We were able to score the first goal. And if we can just hold off, we actually have a chance to still win this set. However, as the game goes on, they start to charge their hypercharges, and it makes this game so much harder to win. And well, soon enough, they eventually evened out the score 1-1 with some nice plays. With our mid wall, Chino saw an opportunity to score a goal. He had his super shot, and he looked for it. And just as I thought we were about to lose the game, Tyrant did this.
You're gonna have to utilize this entire combo on the left-handed. Chino go wide open, has a super shot, fire intercepted! Tyrant, perfect precision!
Now, what a beautiful save from Tyrant, but that still wasn't going to be enough for us to win the game. Eventually, they kept pushing us with their hypercharges, their bears, their supers, and they eventually got the second goal, took game number 1. Game number 2, we had another good early attempt goal here. However, this time we didn't capitalize and didn't score. And with us not scoring the first goal, like I said, as the game progresses, it gets so much harder. Like you can imagine, LG pushed their advantage once they got supers and hypercharges and managed to take the game, forcing us to a do or die set number 5. And so hopping into the 5th set draft, I want to really quickly say LG's bans really messed us up. We definitely weren't expecting those 3 particular bans, so we were put on the back foot right away. Either way, we locked in Barry first pick. They went Gale Meg, which is a scary 2-3 combo. Now at this point, we still knew we wanted to go something aggro to try to get in their zone, but this is where we made our big mistake. We didn't want to first time pick something like a Buster here, which we thought could be a pretty solid pick. We decided to go with our comfort pick, which was Buzz, but this is already a really hard Buzz game into Meg and Gale. I don't really know what we were thinking here. This was definitely a huge mistake. In hindsight, Draco could have been a solid pick, but either way, we got what we got. Now with the mentality that every draft is winnable, we just have to find the way to win. Well, since we have Barry and a thrower, they don't have a thrower, that's probably our win condition as long as we can get a couple crucial plays. And well, as game 1 played out, we actually took a small lead early on thanks to some nice plays with Barry. However, this map, things can swing so fast. And while this one play by Chino might have swung the game completely.
But a Shadow Realm removes him. This is now an advantage for Chino. Fade going to be on the underworld and goes down instantly. Tyrant caught off guard.
And well, once they got control, it was impossible to break it, so we eventually lost game number 1. But this was still super close, so we can still win game number 2. And again, game 2, this start was basically the same. It was so close going into the mid game, and it all comes down to this play. We decided to ignore with Buzz and hope that we can defend with Amber and Barry. And if we're able to defend, we'd probably win the game. However, they had too much HP and too much pressure, and they locked down our zone, so we were forced to come back with Buzz, but it was just a little too late, and they managed to take. And that means we're gonna drop out in the semifinals and not make Worlds. Now I know we draft as a team and it's a team loss, but as the coach of the team, it definitely sucks to not get good drafts. Now I put a lot of blame on myself for this one, but luckily our postseason isn't quite done yet. We will be fighting it out in the last chance qualifier later in August for one last chance at Worlds. I hope you liked this tournament style video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Maybe I'll do more. Either way, peace.